Hello everybody, this is Tim here again, here with my next review for From Dusk Till Dawn 3. Just to start off, I'd give this movie 2.5 stars, same score as is From Dusk Till Dawn 2, but I did enjoy this film better. This is the real From Dusk Till Dawn sequel. Actually, they could have just took the money that it cost to make part 2 and this one and combined it together and probably make one badass sequel or prequel. This is the real sequel to From Dusk Till Dawn. It's actually a prequel. It takes place in the Old West, whereas the first one was half crime thriller in this one and half vampire B-movie. This one is half Western and half vampire B-movie. Pretty much it starts out, you got this boy who's going to be hanged, Johnny Madrid, played by an actor who I've only seen in one other film, Once Upon a Time in Mexico. He's an okay actor. He does a good job here. Pretty much it's kind of the same similar type setup as the first movie. You got this group of people, two of them are like Bible salesmen. Another one is this guy who's a real-life writer named Ambrose Pierce, played by Michael Parks, does a great job here. He's one of the highlights. Him and the guy that played Johnny Madrid and the Hangman are the three best parts of the movie. Johnny Madrid hooks up with the Hangman's daughter. He goes to get away from him or whatever, and the Hangman's on the hunt for him. And the Hangman is played by the dude who played, like, what was it, Django Fett, I believe, in the prequel Star Wars films. But anyway, and they're all hunting after each other, and they all have scores to settle with each other. And there's this kid who you think is a boy, but is actually a girl that wants to be a member of Johnny's gang, but he doesn't want her in it. And Johnny Madrid is pretty much a pure straight-up asshole in this film. Unlike George Clooney's character, who had some goodness to him, this guy's more of just like kind of a straight-up dick. But anyway, which he may be even a little bit too much of a dick, but at the same time, I appreciate how they don't compromise and they pretty much keep him a real straight up asshole, pretty much. But anyway, one thing leads to another. They end up at the bar that's actually a brothel here, and I like how Danny Trejo is still the bartender. That's hilarious to me. And they're there, and of course, it's infested with vampires. The Hangman shows up, and you find out that the Hangman's daughter that is hooked up with Johnny Madrid is actually the daughter of the Queen Vampire there, or whatever. So apparently the Hangman has slept with the Queen Vampire at some time in the past and produced this half-breed Blade-type chick. But anyway, so she's there. It is a bit of a coincidence that she winds up there, but the movie's entertaining. The vampires show up, and you even get a callback to the band from the first movie. Here they're playing. They're like mariachis or whatever playing in the middle of all the carnage, which was pretty funny. And you got Orlando Bloom showing up as a brush salesman, which was freaking out of nowhere and hilarious. And of course, they have to survive the night, and they have to team up together. You know, kind of like Assault on Precinct 13 or whatever. They have to survive the night, and of course, they get picked up one by one. Some problems with the film is it tries to retain like kind of the wacky B-movie type humor of the first film, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like when it has some tentacles coming out of this vampire's body, like snake-type tentacles, that kind of doesn't work. It's a little off. But another time when Orlando Bloom becomes a vampire and he like seduces Rebecca Gayheart, who's like a Bible salesman in the movie or whatever, and he puts her in a trance and it goes like black and white and he's dancing with her and then he bites her as a vampire. That was pretty funny, actually. One thing leads to another. You get to the end, the girl or whatever, the Hangman's daughter, gets turned into a full vampire and you find out she's Satanical Pandemonium or whatever. That was kind of cool. I like that twist. Ambrose Pierce and Johnny Madrid, Michael Parks' character, Ambrose Pierce and Johnny Madrid, end up being the ones that get away. They get saved by the Hangman, who gets turned into a vampire by his daughter, and he pulls the lever behind the bar and opens up the door and lets him out. And then he even kills the Queen Vampire by pulling it again and causing the spikes to go into her body. And I laugh every time because he goes, "Bitch." That's pretty damn funny. They get away as, like, pretty much Esmeralda's her real name, who is now Satanical Pandemonium, is, like, screaming Johnny's name, wanting him to come back. Yeah, so it's kind of sad, because she winds up being Salma Hayek's character, who gets killed by George Clooney in the future, which is pretty funny. And they ride off into the sunset to go join the military, pretty much, and that's the ending, and it fades back, and you get to see behind the bar, and it's like an Aztec temple, and there's stuff there from, like, centuries even earlier than what it was shown in the first From Dusk Till Dawn movie. Yeah, I'd give the movie 2.5 stars out of 4. It's an alright movie. I like the movie. I've seen much better, and I've seen way worse. It's better than the second film. It's better directed. There's not as many zany camera angles or gimmicky camera angles. It's a better film than the second one. The second one is still a perfectly enjoyable, alright, enjoyable B monster mash movie. It's not really a From Dusk Till Dawn movie. This one is the only true sequel to the first flick, and it's enjoyable for what it is. An alright prequel. The acting is mostly fine for the most part. Danny Trejo is funny to see again. Orlando Bloom, not Orlando Bloom, but Orlando Jones tries to sell him a brush for a drink, and you get a line where he says, "We don't need no stinking brushes." And of course, Danny Trejo plays it good. Yeah, all in all, perfectly enjoyable, alright film. I believe it's directed by Robert Rodriguez's cousin or something like that. He does a good enough directing job here. Originally, the original ending of the movie involved Ambrose Pierce getting turned into a vampire, and Johnny Madrid was killed by Esmeralda, who's now turned into Santanico Pandemonium or whatever. That ending would have made more sense in the context of what the movie sets up with Ambrose Pierce's character, of how it starts at the beginning and shows like some text saying he disappeared or whatever. Through the movie, it's kind of like he's psychic and he has flashes of the future. He would have helped explain why he disappeared, and that was the original ending to the movie. That stuff was, I know it's in the work print version, that would have made more sense, but I can see probably test audiences complaining about that and wanting somebody to survive. So at the same time that the opening text kind of doesn't jive with the movie, but at the same time the movie's still enjoyable enough. It's an alright film. It's a worthy prequel to the first film, but again, the first film works best as a standalone film. It didn't really need any sequels or a prequel. It's an idea of a grindhouse type flick that only really works once. But this is a good try. This is a good try. This is an alright film, and I recommend seeing it. So I'll see you guys again with whatever comes next.